Dear chess friends, welcome to your out of chess channel and welcome to a new and spectacular gameplay by the latest version of Stockfish, the powerful Stockfish 16. Today we see the fish battling it out against another top engine, Black Marlin, in an amazing Canal-Sokolsky attack of the Sicilian defense. The Canal-Sokolsky attack, also called the Moscow variation, is now this particular setup where you are giving this early check in the Sicilian defense. It's also a deviation from this Nezhmedinov-Rosolimo attack where Black is not playing d6, where we're trying, of course, to play bishop to b5, maybe messing up the pawn structure by capturing the knight on c6, creating a double pawn structure on the c file. So this Canal-Sokolsky attack is a little bit different because Black doesn't have to react, of course, with knight to c6, where White could, of course, double up the pawn structure. Black can react with knight to d7 or bishop to d7. So it's playable for both sides, but it's really, really interesting line here to study for sure against the Sicilian defense. And the cool part about this game is that actually we will follow an amazing game played by Magnus Carlsen against Hikaru Nakamura, where Magnus Carlsen introduced to us really a beautiful attacking idea in the Canal-Sokolsky attack with the white pieces, and actually Stockfish will repeat today this attacking method. So from the beginning we're following Magnus Carlsen against Hikaru Nakamura, but then of course the engines are changing the direction of the opening theory. Then the game deviates a little bit into something else, but from the beginning it's of course amazing spectacular gameplay by Magnus Carlsen against Hikaru Nakamura. So let's start with from the beginning with the white pieces. Stockfish / Magnus Carlsen opens with the move e4. We have now Black Marlin / Hikaru Nakamura responsible c5, knight to f3, and now from move d6 we have again this so-called Canal-Sokolsky attack from White's perspective. Knight bishop to d7, bishop takes d7, knight to d7, kingside castling, knight to f6, and after move d3. The only strategic advantage that White has here in the Canal-Sokolsky attack is that you have a better bishop. So it's in the beginning maybe nothing spectacular. It's in the beginning maybe not something that should bring you too much advantage in an early stage of the game. But when you think about it harder, Black's dark square bishop is not so good. White's light square bishop is much better. This knight can be developed on a good square, so tiny little edge at least in the beginning for White. So nothing spectacular, as I said, but really interesting opening choice. So we have now e6 here by Black Marlin, and now comes this attacking method introduced to us by Magnus Carlsen here. Magnus against Hikaru Nakamura also played this interesting choice, knight to g5. This move breaks a certain principle in chess that says that you should not play with the same piece twice in the opening stage, at least if you don't have a good reason to do so. But I think this is a decent opening line because we are preparing the move f4. Black has here this, I would say, slightly passive structure e6 d6, in which he never really occupied the fifth rank with his pawn. So it gives you the opportunity to occupy the fourth rank, and then maybe later also to occupy the fifth rank. Good choice, I think, here by Stockfish. As I said, we're still in the Magnus Carlsen / Hikaru Nakamura chess game. Bishop to e7 by Black Marlin. f4, we have kingside castling, and now also, like Magnus Carlsen, the fish played c4, keeping all of these pawns on light squares. So here you see that's, as I said, the tiny little advantage that White has here in the beginning. Black's dark square bishop is simply a little bit paralyzed by its own pawn. As I said, this is nothing spectacular that White gained by in this top engine level, but also in top grandmaster level. I think this really great players are calculating and are analyzing this position a little bit deeper than maybe I am, and probably every grandmaster or probably every engine would be satisfied with the outcome of this opening in an early stage of the game. So here comes also an interesting idea that Hikaru also played, and also Black Marlin repeated, knight to b8, because you have pushed now the pawn to c4. Now suddenly your d4 square is unprotected. So we have knight to c3 by the fish, and now we have a change of the direction of the game here. Hikaru continued with knight to c6, normal development, but in the game here a6 was played by the Black Marlin chess engine. Black Marlin is trying to immediately break and enter here with this aggressive method b5. So let's follow a little bit here. Still this Magnus Carlsen Hikaru in the game. As I said, Hikaru played here knight to c6. Magnus continued with bishop to e3. Now Hikaru pushed the pawn to d5. h6 was played knight to f3, and now e5. was the huge mistake here by Hikaru Nakamura, and Magnus Carlsen eventually won the game. The game was played in 2018. So as I said, here in the game, after knight to c3, Black Marlin tried a6. Stockfish continues with normal development. Here knight to f3, retreating with the knight, but now with the progressive idea to play king to h1, rook to g1, and then hit the flanks here with g4, g5. We have knight to c6, we have king to h1. As I said, this is now the main idea. This is the plan. Rook to g1 and then g4, g5. We have rook to b8. Again, black is also trying a counterattack here on this side of the board. b5 is now the obvious threat. We have a4. Here, Stockfish at least stops for a while black's attacking chances on the queen side. We have rook from rook to e8. A certain novelty here. I've seen now games in the database where queen to d7 has been played by, here we have Edmar John Madness against Vitaly Tchaikovsky, and here also knight to d7 was played in one particular game. Detlef Rook against Juan Felipe Camanel Zamora also ended with a draw. Here we have a certain novelty here in this game. Black Marlin tried to play rook to e8. We have bishop to d2 here by Stockfish 16, and now Black Marlin, I think, makes a tiny little inaccuracy in an early stage of the game. Plays now, maybe I would say, nothing spectacular also. It's not such a huge mistake, but really unnecessary move. Okay, you are liberating the e file, but I think this bishop should be simply stuck here on this diagonal, should be somehow defending this side of the board. From this point on, okay, maybe you can change the direction. Maybe you can play g6, bishop to g7 or something, but I think you have to cover the g5 square. In the game, Stockfish says, okay, you never are going to probably defend this position on the king side anymore, so Stockfish continues with the normal queen to e1. Is trying to get the queen on g3, and also now there is an opportunity to even get the queen on h4 because the bishop is not anymore on e7. We have queen to b6 by Black Marlin, and now here my question for you is, what would be now the best move here for white? Pause the video and try to see now the first, I think, very important idea here, because many of us would probably do something else. Here I really want to maybe to calculate this position and find simply the best continuation for white. Okay, here queen to b6, again an unnecessary move maybe by Black Marlin. Stockfish continues with a5. Stockfish is saying you don't have anything here on the queen side, because if you play here queen to b2, then queen to e2 is very risky. Rook to b1 is going to happen, and in some lines the queen could be also trapped. If you try here after move a5, knight takes a5, then there's this issue. Knight to a4, hitting the queen drops back, and you lose now decisive material. The game is again over here for black. So a5 must see move here. You're also stopping black's attacking chances on the queen side with this move. Black Marlin had to now simply retreat with the queen, so unnecessary move. Queen to b6, queen to g3 here by the fish, h6, and now queen to h3. An amazing attacking idea. Rook to g1, g4, g5 is now coming, and there's simply, I don't know, not so many good moves I think that black can do here. Maybe d5 breakthrough method is somehow good, but here b5 was played by Black Marlin, and Stockfish plays now a beautiful counterattack here, g4. What should now again black do? For instance, if you play here b takes c4, this wouldn't be good because white is simply much faster in the attack. Although we have maybe some chances around the square b2, but this wasn't played in the game. After move g4, knight to h7 was played by Black Marlin. But as I said, if you try b takes c4, then we're already there. g5, you're trying maybe something like this. You can maybe pick up also the b pawn, but now we simply attack further the bishop. Now the g file gets occupied. You're trying maybe something like knight to d4, but look at this. You're simply getting destroyed on the g file. Knight to e4 is going to happen. So white has an attacking flow. I think black will lose the game after a couple more moves. Of course, black doesn't have to play the game like this. Black can play something else. But I wanted to point you out this very important attacking ideas on the g file. So probably black would be then destroyed on the g file for sure. So here after move g4, that Stockfish played, the Black Marlin engine tried to defend with knight to h7. We have c takes b5, a takes b5, now g5 anyway, and after h takes g5, now rook to g1. Stockfish sacrifices pawn just in order to again have this beautiful attacking chances on the g file. We have g takes f4, and now bishop to f4. My question here for you is, from Black's perspective, what would you do now? Pause the video and try to see now the best defensive idea here for Black. Choose between knight to e7 or choose between b4. So these two moves I think good, but one is much better. So maybe let's flip the board for a little bit. Let's also study some defensive ideas here. What would you do now? As I said, knight to e7, maybe then to reroute the knight on g6, or would you try maybe here the move b4? Okay, here Black Marlin made actually the mistake with knight to e7, and from this point on the game became really one-way ticket in White's favor. A better choice is here to play the move b4. This is now the only winning chance. Look at this, knight to g5 would be then the best move here for White. After knight to g5, bishop to g5, you have to play now f6. Still it's complicated because e5 is going to happen. Look at this, you have to now react with f takes g5, but now look at this knight is coming into the game. You have to cover now your 7th rank. The knight is still coming into the game, and now with g6, this is the only way to defend his position. Still it's complicated because after knight to e6 you can make a mistake with queen to c8 or something. Look at this, rook to g6, then you have to cover. It's not working actually. Here after knight to e6, the only defensive idea is here to play a counter attack with queen to a8. This would be the only, as I said, defensive chance. Now rook to g6, rook to g7, covering it now with knight to e5. Here we finally pick up the piece. Black in this line would actually continue the game with 2 minor pieces against the rook. Playable for both sides, probably White slightly better because of the much more exposed king, but as I said, this was the only way that Black could defend his position. So let's flip the board again. In the game, knight to e7 instead of this move b4 has been played by Black Marlin. So from knight to e7, Stockfish immediately uses this chance and plays now knight to g5. We have knight to g5, bishop to g5, queen to d7, and now rook to f1. And this is the position that I think you can resign against such a powerful engine like Stockfish 16. There's nothing that can be done. Look at this. The heavy artillery is coming into the game. Queen is already here. Bishop very active. The knight can be maybe in sublines included into the attack. So this is game over, I think, here for Black. So here d5 was played by Black Marlin. Even if you try c4, look at this, rook to g3, queen to h5, rook to h3 is now the main attacking goal. We have rook from a to f1, d5, rook to g3, b4. Stockfish ignores simply the attack against the knight, plays now queen to h5, g6, and now bishop to f6. You cannot of course capture the queen because of the activity of the rook on the g file. We have bishop to g7, queen to h4, b takes c3 here by Stockfish, pardon me, by Black Marlin. Even if you try here bishop to f6, queen to f6, you have to play strange moves like knight to f5 with take, and now we simply get through here with our pieces, and now we get their knight out of game. So this is also, I think, a completely winning endgame here for White. So here after move queen to h4, we have b takes c3 by Black Marlin, rook to h3, king to f8. Stockfish simply grabs the piece, and now after a couple more moves and queen to f7, the game is over. White delivered this beautiful checkmate with the queen and rook's activity. So great game. Interesting line. The cool part about this Canal-Sokolsky attack is that Black has to play in the beginning this idea. He can of course play knight to c6 in the beginning, then you could probably go into the Neshmedinov Rosalima attack, but now look at this, really interesting choices. After bishop to b5, as I said, bishop to d7 takes, and now with this knight to g5 f4 method, I think you could have good chances against the Sicilian. As I said, your dark square bishop is slightly better than Black's dark square bishop, so Nothing spectacular game, but if you want to maybe play a solid game against a much stronger opponent, this is, I think, a good option. So maybe this is something for you. I hope also that you enjoyed this beautiful attacking game here by Stockfish 16. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed the game. If you want to see more attacking brains like this, check out our Combat Chess Games Play by Computer series. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say? Chess is the best, of course.